This is BTS Live. Denton Day, Jeremy Fitch, Adam Fornwalt. Joined now by Jason Sobel, senior golf writer at ESPN.com. Jason, how you doing today?
Good, fellas. What's happening?
Not too much. Thank you for jumping. I know you got a busy schedule, so we'll get right to this. So just about you. You were a writer. You used to do TV as well. So what kind of got you interested in this whole business of sports marketing and sports entertainment?
That's a good question. I started back when I was in high school. I knew I wanted to get into sports writing. I wound up I grew up in Long Island, wound up working for a now defunct sort of a half newspaper, half newsletter called Long Island Sports, covering some of the local high schools and local recreational club sports that were going on Long Island. And then, I walked into my college newspaper from day one with a resume and clip file when I was 18 years old, and wrote for the college paper, and had a chance, went to school up in Boston at Brandeis University, and had the chance to write for the Boston Globe and Middlesex News and Newsday and a few other papers and magazines when I was in college. And really, it was the only thing I knew. It was the only thing I wanted to do. It was the only thing I was good at, and I was absolutely scared to death that I was going to graduate college in 4 years and have nothing to do and nowhere to go and have to live with my folks. So I worked really hard at it, and I didn't worry about anything else in school, which is probably really bad advice for somebody to give to you college kids. But all I can tell you is that it worked out for me, and I just kind of went for it, and everything came up okay.
So we know you love golf, and I know you try not to be as biased, but we'll let you be a little bit biased here. And who is your all-time favorite golfer?
The greats of the game. And I didn't get into the game until I was really in college, or even a little bit of out of college, a little bit later than that. So, I really didn't watch Jack Nicklaus in his prime, not that I'm quite old enough anyway, and didn't watch Arnold Palmer. But those guys, I've had a chance to spend some time around them, some of the legends of the game, whether it's Jack or Arnold or Gary Player, Trevino. I just sat down with for an hour doing a podcast a couple of months ago. He's terrific. I've gotten to be around them, and they're certainly my favorite people in the game. Not that I really have a favorite golfer. I really am objective. I've got some people on the PGA Tour right now, so some of the golfers who I'm a lot more friendly with, obviously, than others. Just how the world works. It's just how communications work, but I don't know that I openly root for anybody. I think I'm pretty fair when it comes to not only my coverage, but sort of how I treat those kind of things.
Yeah, fair enough. Jason, this is Adam Fornwalt. Obviously, you can't talk golf these days without talking about Tiger Woods. His name seems to be in it every time. He's coming back from an injury this season, this tour, this year. What can you expect from him? He's saying he's not going to come back till he's 100%, but I feel like we've heard that every time.
Yeah, I think this is a little bit different. I think in the past he's come back from injuries and said, I'm going to come back sooner rather than later. I'm going to work harder than anyone thinks I can work. If someone says it's going to take 6 months, I'll be back in 3. If they say 3 months, I'll be back in 1. And he's not saying that this time. This time he is being cautiously optimistic. He is taking a long-term approach. He understands that he's 40 years old now, and his body doesn't heal as quick as it used to. And I think it's the right move. I think it's the right thing for him in the long term to, first of all, take as much time as he needs to get as healthy as he can. And secondly, not raise the bar of expectations so high that if he doesn't come back and start winning tournaments immediately, we don't think any less of him. This is a guy who for so long has raised expectations to a point where they were so outsized that unless he won by 15 strokes, we considered it a disappointment. And now it's not going to happen that way.
Right.
I think he understands that. I think the rest of us understand that. And if and when he does come back, I do think it's more of a when than an if, we'll see a guy who understands his limitations a little bit better than he did in the past.
Well, we've seen several players step up in his absence, the like of Jordan Spieth with his breakout performance, Rory McIlroy, obviously another name. Who's another guy on the tour that you're looking for to kind of have a breakout year this year?
It's those guys. It's Ricky Fowler, who's played terrific golf so far in the first 2 months of the year. Jason Day, who finished up last year really strong. If you want to go a little bit deeper for other guys in their 20s who are up-and-comers that some of them have already won. Brooks Koepka, Hideki Matsuyama. There's so many of them. There's a lot of really, really good young talent. Justin Thomas is a guy I would throw in there as well. Too often gets looped in just as Jordan Spieth's friend, but he's got a ton of game himself. The game's in really a good place right now. If and when Tiger comes back, it's just going to be better. It's just going to be strengthened. But quite frankly, that's going to be the biggest obstacle for him. It's not his health. It's not his swing. It's trying to come back and beat all of these other guys who are really, really good. I think that's going to be very difficult for him because it's very difficult for everybody.
Do you think that the sport needs a breakout star like a Jordan Spieth to continue what he's doing? Or does it help the fact that there's so many guys that can win on any given week? You've got so much parity that, that kind of means, something for them as well. So I guess what I'm saying is, would you rather have a guy like Spieth dominate or have multiple players do well in a tournament year?
Are you asking me, or are you asking what's best for the game? I love parity. I love seeing a lot of different players with a chance to win on any given week. What's best for the game is superstardom, though. It's a game that feasts on domination. If you want to bring the masses to golf, if you want to have the casual fans watching every Saturday and Sunday afternoon, you've got to have players that can dominate. And I don't think we're going to see another Tiger Woods. We might not see another Tiger Woods for the rest of our lifetime. But if the totality of Jordan Spieth, Rory McIlroy, Jason Day, Ricky Fowler, all put together equals Tiger Woods, well, that's pretty good right there. And I think we have to understand that that might be, first of all, not the future. That might be the present. That might be what golf is for the next 5, 10, 15 years, and that's okay. And the fact that nobody is dominating the game isn't necessarily a bad thing. I think it's good, but I do think it needs to be limited to 3, 4, 5 players and not 15, 20, 25 really good players at the top.
Now, Jason, this is Jeremy Fitch. Thank you for coming on. Now, you've talked about some pretty good golfers in the golf world, but I wanted to know, Mike Greenberg's been pretty high on himself about his golfing ability. Who do you believe is the best golfer that works at ESPN?
It's not Greeny, and it's not me. Greeny and I are buddies. We talk a lot about going to play. We never played when we were up in Bristol together. I was up there for 14 years, and we just never get a chance. We're on completely different schedules. Guy wakes up at 3 o'clock in the morning doing his show. We've talked about it a little bit over the last year or two. We'll send each other text messages and just never seem to meet up. And then, so that's not going to happen. John Buchagroff. If I'm going to take that on air, and guys will know, Bucci is a terrific stick. He's a really good player. I don't know what he's playing to now, but if you're playing against him, make sure he puts down he's playing for scratch, because I don't think he's much worse than that. I think he's about a scratch, so you better be on your game if you're going to take some money out of his pocket.
Now, does he go Adam Sandler and bring his hockey stick to use?
No, but I tell you what, Bucci's a great dude. I love following him on Twitter. I'm a huge hockey guy myself. I watch probably as much hockey as golf on a daily basis because I can't get enough pucks, so I follow him religiously because he's got all the inside knowledge on everything hockey.
That's awesome, Jason. Now, getting a little bit back to you for a minute. You've had the opportunity to work for ESPN and cover golf since 2004. You've won 4 Emmy Awards, and we were just wondering what it takes to at least win 1 Emmy.
You got to ride somebody's coattails. You got to be around the right people. That's at least what works for me. None of mine. I did win 4 Emmys. It's true. I've got them at home. I have the trophies. None of them were for anything individual, and I'm actually proud of the fact that I was part of a team with ESPN when I was working on the TV production side with SportsCenter and NFL Countdown when those were deemed the best shows in those given years, and I was able to be part of those teams. So, quite frankly, the shows were going to win whether I was working on them or not, and I just happened to be able to ride the coattails of some other really, really good people and smart people at ESPN, and was able to get a couple of trophies out of it.
Certainly a dream award for anyone in the business. Definitely something that we all would like in the future. One last question for you. We ask this of all of our guests. What advice would you give to any college student that's looking to get into the journalism and broadcasting field?
Work, work, work. It's the same advice that I would give anybody in any field, honestly. Outwork everybody else. When I was in college, I mentioned it at the beginning of the interview, I would take Thursday nights, Friday nights, Saturday nights. I wasn't going out to parties. I wasn't hanging out with buddies. I was covering the Westboro girls hockey game on a Friday night, and then going over to Cape Cod and covering a basketball game the next night. It's what I knew I wanted to do, and I knew I was going to have to outwork everybody else. The other advice I'll give you is never turn down an opportunity. I don't care if they say, hey, we can only pay you $5 for the entire day. Go do it. You never know what it'll turn into, because I've had so many of those jobs, internships, volunteerisms, whatever you want to call them, throughout my high school and college days, and somehow they all worked out. Call it karma, call it, good dividends. I don't know, but it all works out in the long run. So outwork everybody else, work as hard as you can, and that's the best advice I can give you. Whether you're getting into journalism, or whether you're getting into accounting, or whether you getting into the medical field, I don't care what it is. If you outwork everybody else, you'll be in good standing when the time comes to get a job and to move up in the world.
Definitely great advice. I know Liberty students listening around here on campus will take that to heart. We for sure in the studio are taking that for heart. Jason, thank you for your time, and hope to talk to you again soon.
You got it. Anytime, guys. Take care, and good luck to you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jason.
Quick message to all our local listeners from our sponsors at 9th Street Parlor. Located conveniently in historic downtown Lynchburg, 9th Street Parlor is the only place to go for your next haircut. For more information, visit parlordowntown.com.